Hello and welcome to the latest episode of the Lisa Pezik Show. Today I've got the hubby, Eric, who's here with me. And I really just wanted to bring him on because we're going through another time of transition in our business. And entrepreneurs that are listening, even if you're not an entrepreneur, you've gone through transition, whether it's in your marriage, in your parenting, in your job, in where you live, in your health maybe, one or another or many aspects of your life, there's been change. And how do we navigate that? How do you figure out when you need to walk away from something, when you need to start something new? Those are all the kind of questions that I think everybody thinks or that everybody has, and we feel like we have to figure it out ourselves. And I wanted to bring Eric on this podcast because I want to open up that dialogue about what is the right next move for you? What is the best move for you? What do you need to walk away from? And I know in our business, we literally are on version 6, I want to say, of the website.
Yeah,
has it been?
Yeah, probably close to that. Yeah, 5 or 6.
5 or 6, where we're really just dialing down and getting clear about who we are and what we do and who we want to help and who we don't want to help. And the more that you can get clear, the right people in business will come your way. The right people that you will attract, the more clear that you get. And that starts with you. And I have gone through a huge transition. Just yesterday, I decided to walk away from 5 years in the network marketing business. 5 years that I'm thankful for it because it taught me about online business. It taught me about customer service. It taught me about managing a team. It taught me about being a team player. It taught me about leadership. It taught me about personal development. So many amazing things, but it really got to the point where it just wasn't fun anymore. I didn't want to do it. I didn't want to be aligned with it. Our business and our brand, when I say our, Eric and I, that got me excited. That got me up and out of bed in the morning. That was something I could look forward to. And that's not to say that the network marketing opportunity was a bad opportunity. It was a great opportunity. I just outgrew it. And it was a time of transition for me that I wanted to put, or I want to put, my time, energy, and money to something different. So I think the first question that you should ask yourself when you know you need to make a change, or you're moving through a transition, or you're just kind of at a crossroads is, I know it sounds so simple, but what do you want to do? Take everybody else out of it. I knew probably for the last year that this business didn't serve me anymore in network marketing, but I was worried about my team. I was worried about letting people down. I was worried about being labeled a crappy leader. Like, I just had all these irrational, false fears in my head that kept me from doing the thing I needed to do, which was walk away. So what do you want to do? What makes you happy? I was looking at Eric the other day, stressed out. And I said, you know, this is self-imposed stress. As an entrepreneur, you get to pick when you start your day, who you work with, what you do. And if the alternative isn't better, it's like, if I get up every morning and this is what I'm doing and I chose it, well, then who's to blame? It's me, right? It's you. So that first question, I think, is so simple, but what do you want to do and what makes you happy? And if you're doing things that don't align with that, then you got to stop doing it. And that's not to say you're not going to grow and do hard things. Yes, you should be doing that. But if the purpose doesn't align with the vision that you see for yourself, then you got to stop doing it. And that's where I looked at, where do I want to be? I'm 37. In 3 years, I'm pushing 40. And it's like midlife crisis time for me or something. I don't
No,
know.
3 years you are 40.
Or I am 40. That's what I mean. I'm going to be 40.
2 years you're pushing 40. You're
2
pushing
years.
40 now.
No, I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm 37.
After 35.
Going on 38.
After 35, you're pushing 40.
Is that it now?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, come on.
What's the next
Give me
major
more
milestone?
time. Well, you're ancient, so what doesn't matter. So I'm like midlife crisis time for me, I think, where I'm just starting to look at when I get up in the morning, what do I want to do? What moves the needle for me? What gives me purpose? And if I don't want to do it, I'm not going to do it anymore. So that's kind of the first question I want you to go through when you're in a transition, or you just kind of want to start working. I think I was trying to say working smarter, and smarking came out. Yep, it's been one of those days. We're just working smarter is what I was trying to say.
No, that's smarking.
Smarking. We created a new word right
You got
here
it.
on the Lisa Pezik show.
Yeah.
Okay, what about you, Eric? So what's your thoughts on moving through a transition, working harder, smarter, not harder? What's been a change for you in our business or our life?
Two things that I can think of is, well, first off, I want to say that I think sometimes it just happens. Like, I know for me, like, two things that happened for me was I realized that I was trying to be the creator, but then I was also trying to be the salesman. And then I was also trying to be the coach. And I was also trying to be the graphic designer. And I was also trying to be the web designer. And I was also trying to be the copywriter. And it took me like 5 years. And it was probably the last 3 years that I finally was like, if I'm going to build a business that's sustainable, that's going to grow, I need a team behind me.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to stop looking at myself as being the person who does everything. Because what happened and what was happening for me during that time was I couldn't surpass my income. It was like I was making an X amount per month, and I couldn't allow myself to grow because I couldn't take on more clients unless I wanted to literally work 24/7. So I had to really grow out of that mentality of, if I don't do it, it's not going to get done. Because that's kind of what my mentality was at that point.
Mm.
And then my second mentality was, if I don't do it, it's not going to be as good.
The trust in other people.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like building what now I would call like the dream team. Right? And believe me, like, there's a lot of things that I realize now looking back, like, oh my God, if I had known that person was not going to be the person they said they were going to be to help me in my dreams, I would have been that much further ahead by not hiring them. But that's the pain. That's the growing pain. Yeah. I learn, right? I learned, but I learned from that because now I ask the questions that I learned from that person, right? I say like, okay, how do you work? Right. And I'll say to the person, like, what are your hours? What type of work do you do? How much work can you take on? Those kind of questions.
Yeah, it's interesting because my questions are very like quote unquote feminine. Like, what do you want to do? What makes you happy? What makes you get out of bed in the morning? What's going to grow you? Like, get aligned with yourself. And your questions are very masculine, which are system related, where you're saying you've got to ask these kinds of questions if you're going to let go of that piece of your business or your system, because that mentality of you had to do it all was keeping you stuck.
Well, that and
out of transition.
Well, that and realizing too that think of the things you don't necessarily like to do. I mean, it could be day to day, or things in your business that you don't like to do. There's somebody else out there who loves to do it, who loves to do that.
Yeah, like our VAs we've worked with, they love it. They love it.
Analytics, setting up email campaigns,
images,
social
media graphics.
Yeah, like there's people, it's their dream. They're like, oh my God, you are fulfilling my dream.
Yeah. I think about my first VA. She loved the Trello board.
Yeah.
Like, she got so excited when there were tasks on the Trello board.
She rocked it.
And she was
amazing. She rocked it. It was her thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's one thing. And then the other was, I realized too that print has shifted for me. When I first started my career, I'd say 90% of my work was print, and it's evolved outside of print.
Print, you mean like you were doing like flyers?
Yeah, like I was designing stuff, and then I was doing it for print-based marketing efforts.
Like things in your
business
hand.
cards, brochures, whatever that is, like a physical magazines,
Yeah.
like even the magazine, I had a magazine business for 3 years, gone.
Why?
The magazine specific?
Well, just why is print kind of, I mean, print's not
It's
dead.
not dead,
Print works,
no.
but why has your business shifted, or our business shifted now more to online, I would say, than print?
Yeah, I think it's because of where things have evolved with, especially with marketing and advertising. You can't get the same return now in print as you can in digital marketing.
Like in terms of how far your budget will go.
How far your budget will go, being able to track and see the actual results. I put in X and I can potentially get Y. You can set that up 24/7 with digital.
So I think it goes back to this is the way it's always been done, and this is the way we've done it. And people meaning like our clients or entrepreneurs or potential clients are like, I don't want to get into the online space. People get stuck, again, talking about working smarter, moving through transition. People get stuck in like, this is the way we've always done it, so that's the way we want to continue. And that doesn't always work.
Yeah.
You have to be adaptable. You have to be willing to change.
And and the part of that too is education, right? I had to educate myself, as you did. And now our job a lot of times is educating our clients to realize that potential, because they've only known that print.
They only know that way, yeah.
Well, if I print X amount of flyers that get delivered by Canada Post or United States Postal Service, I could potentially see 3% conversion, which is going to relate in X amount into my business. Our job is to say, yes, that is correct, and that used to work. But imagine if you could do this. You could put in the same amount of money into digital, but control the messaging on the fly and see this amount of conversion that could go from 3% to 23%. And your bank account equals going from 3% to 23%. Huge. And we're talking millions. You're not talking like pennies. Yeah. Going from a $3 million to a $23 million campaign. That's where businesses start listening. Sorry, we kind of went off.
I'm like, I was going to say, you're getting real excited talking about that. I'm like over here going, okay.
Hey.
It's good though.
Yeah, it's good stuff. I get excited about it.
It goes back to, for me, it goes back to the education piece.
Yes.
Like, we need to be educated as the service providers on what the market, where it's going, and where we need to lead people. And we need to educate people about that. And on the flip side of it, if you are going to invest with a service provider, a mentor, a coach, those are the kinds of questions I want to be asking. Like, if you're recommending that I'm supposed to be doing X, Y, and Z, help me understand that. Yeah. You're not asking them to teach you their process. Just for me, I think about when it goes back to the days of nursing, when I was a nurse. And it was like, I wanted to make sure I understood every test, procedure, medication, treatment. What were we doing? Why were we doing it? What were we expecting to see? And I just think that's fair across the board, that we should be educating people of that information. And if you're on the flip side of it, you're entitled to that information. If you're going to invest with somebody, you need to know what you're getting, what the outcomes, projected outcomes could be to the best of their ability. I mean, people always ask that ROI question, but there's so much that goes into that. But I guess where I'm going with this is, don't be afraid to ask questions. Don't be afraid to get what you need to make the decision that, a lot of times, again, people say no, or they avoid, or they don't make a decision is because they don't want to ask the questions. They don't want to look stupid. They don't know. They're not sure. So they just say no. And maybe you're missing out on an opportunity, or you're not moving in the direction that your business or your life needs to go because you're just not asking the right questions.
And it's a good point too that you bring up, because I remember going to a lunch with a potential client. And after the meeting, we sat and we had a coffee, and he was a very much like face-to-face kind of guy, very like successful business owner, but in like a very middle class type business.
Okay.
And after the meeting, that was exactly his response to me. Was he said, wow, I've sat down with so many people before who have pitched me on the exact same services you provide, but they have never educated me on why I need it and what I can expect to get out of it and what it's going to do for my business to move it forward. So you may not be necessarily the business owner, you might be the client too, right? Like I've been there myself. Like you're the client and the business owner. I'm saying in terms of like.
Yeah, I'm trying to be quiet for once and let you talk.
I'm shocked.
Yeah. No, see, it's good.
Yeah, it is good.
So make sure that you're always giving people the information that they need. Like he said, other people have quote unquote pitched him.
Yeah.
But you taught him and explained, and that made it a no-brainer. So that's like sales 101. Your job is not to be a salesman.
Correct.
Your job is to be an educator, a teacher, a provider. And that's when selling isn't icky, when you're teaching and people go, yes, that makes the next logical sense for me to say yes to you to do that. Or no, that doesn't make sense. And then that's great because it saves me and you a lot of time, energy, and money.
So I can bring that back around to your original discussion.
Please.
So that was another learning curve for me in terms of like where I was going. I never saw myself as that educator / salesperson, but that's just where I've evolved to.
And so, and you were like the designer.
Yeah, I was the guy behind the curtains, the magic curtains that never came out, and you would never see me. And yeah,
were they magic?
They were. Yeah, because you would just put money in. Then you
Cha-ching website. Cha-ching
logo. Beautiful.
Where did this come from?
Yeah.
And for me, I was the people pleaser. I was the say yes to everyone and everything. Don't let anybody down. Yeah, don't ever say no. Take on a million things.
And a million jobs.
Yeah, I need 4,000 revenue streams if I want to be profitable. Yeah. And we've stripped it all back. Like I love our website. Taking it back to even the website redesign, we have 5 if you consider the one box.
Yeah.
We have like 5 boxes of services that are like on the template that we love, and that's from like that's it. We get 5. Like really 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's like work with me, boom, 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 boom. I'm like, we get 4. That's it. We don't get 47. We don't get 497. Yeah. We get 4. We get 4 ways to serve people, or like 4 offerings, or 4 things, or 4 highlight areas. And for me, it's like I would have, 5 years ago, I would have wanted 14 of those. But that's madness and insanity and burnout. And you don't need that. So that's been the biggest change for me, is knowing what to say yes to and what to say no to. And I think those are the hard questions that you need to have a look at in your life and in your business. So I'm going to leave it at that. If you want to hop on a strategy session with us, I'll make sure that I banter with Eric and I make fun of him a little bit, because I always do that.
And I'll rhetoric.
And he'll rhetoric, but I try not to speak as much. We're trying to let him co-create, because you're so needed. It's so important, right? I always say, like, I do all the strategy and Eric does all the tech. And it's like, no, you do a lot of great strategy as well. Yeah. Someone that was working with us the other day, it was very cute, adorable, 71-year-old, beautiful lady, said the two of you, what did she say? It's like a dance, the two of you coaching together.
It's like a dance.
It's magical. And it was so cute, like, to hear that, because it's true. Like, being couplepreneurs and working together, we have to be that yin and yang. We have to have that flow. We can't be so alike, or our marriage or our business would never survive. So, I always say it's a 2-to-1 strategy call. It's a 2-to-1 brainstorming session. It is. You get both of our perspectives, because as you can see, we are very masculine, feminine. We do have systems, and there's just different ways that we look at you and your business and your life. So it's free. Take us up on the opportunity, www.lisapezik.com. Thanks for tuning in to the Lisa Pezik Show, and we'll see you again next time.